The following is a transcript between Matías De Stefano, referred to as me, and his higher self, referred to as I am. Originally produced on December 2nd, 2020, under the constellation of Sagittarius, in the mental week, examining through the crown chakra. I am, and from the deep, dark, and muddy waters, your seed germinates, rising to the heavens, blossoming in light. Me. Somehow I felt too comfortable in the shadows, and I am even lazy to start blooming. I am. It is what happens to all living beings, habit, comfort. The body adapts very quickly to the environments to which it is exposed for a long time, and in your case, you have so many planets in the house of Scorpio that despite the pain and suffering in the shadows, you felt at home. Me. Well, not that many. The Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars. And although it is true that they are some of the most important and most used, I feel comfortable in the shadows and the mud, communicating from its darkness and black humor, going deep into the soul and living with the intensity of processes. Yes, I feel at home there. But my moon, Saturn, and Uranus in Sagittarius will be grateful this month. A journey through the conceptual, emotional, and physical world. I am. Emerge from the shadows of the swamp to see the clarity. This is the moment of the allegory of the cave. It is the moment in which the slave of its own perceptions looks out into the external world and recognizes everything that he must learn from the world, from the truth, and see the light. Me. As intended by the aspect of this month, I see. What do the next 30 days hold for us? I am. A journey toward the light, towards the awakening of our understanding of things, to discover, to bring clarity to all shadows. While in Scorpio, we bury ourselves to connect with the shadows and face them. Sagittarius will encourage us to rise up, to smile, to bring light to what was hidden. Me. That is why today you told me resurrection. I am. This concept is not very old, maybe 1,000 years old or so, and it is related to the ascension of Jesus Christ. Me. But the world is older, I imagine. I am. The world that makes it up, yes. Resurrection comes from the word sub, reg, and tio, which means action of putting back what was below straight. An idea that tries to describe that which has fallen, which is on the ground or buried, and which stands up again straight towards the top. Me. Like us going to the shadows? I am. That's right. In the Christian period, the concept was coined to describe the great miracle of Jesus the Christ, who rose from the dead on the third day after his crucifixion. This story, taken as a miracle, is based on a myth which was once legend, and which before it was an allegory, and long before it became an allegory, it was a pagan ceremony based on agriculture, which prior to that was pure astronomy. Me. How was it? I am. Yesterday we explained it on the broadcast. In the universe, everything is a continuum of energy, vibrations, that by magnetism make its particles expand or contract. These two options constitute any vision of time and space through the different dimensions. A dimension is just that, a dimension. That is, something that is measured by the perspective of 2 points of view and separated by them. D is 2 divided, and mensen, measure. Thus, the contraction or expansion of the particles generate the mental, emotional, or physical levels in which consciousness will be experienced, all with the aim of learning about the creative potential it possesses. The two visions that these dimensions generate are the positive and negative perspectives which manifest in a proton and an electron. They allow information to move, bending time and space in the form of spirals. The spiral movements of the cosmos mean that in periods of positive expansion, a reality is experienced, and while in negative expansion, that reality is integrated, recovering energy in assimilation. We could say that for the mind, the positive looks for data through knowledge, and the negative integrates them through wisdom. In the physical body, this is called life and death. For billions of years, the universe goes through millions of ways along the spiral with the aim of awakening wisdom in the search for knowledge, living different lives, and having to die in many instances. When you realize that there is no such thing as death or different lives, but that everything is a continuum of vibration at different frequencies, you recognize that everything is fractal and cyclical, which means that many of the patterns are replicated at all levels. In this case, the fact of being born and dying is repeated like waves in a sea without ceasing. Everyone knew this in ancient times, since they observed nature and understood that divinity could not be different, in the same way that a son resembles his parents. Because of this, they understood that there is a cosmic reality called the world of ideas and a physical reality called the world of shadows, the two progenitors of the being. It is understood then that the physical reality is flesh, what is perceptible by the five senses, and that it only transforms, it never disappears. But the world of ideas can expand and contract again into a new being, a new form. This is called reincarnation, that is, returning to the flesh, to the body. The subtle world expands at death and contracts at birth in the same way that the lungs do when breathing. The cosmos does the same. Galaxies, stars, solar systems, worlds, nature, life, everything expands and contracts, being born and dying in the magnetic spirals of the expressing universe. And the four seasons are one of the ways to perceive it. The solstices and equinoxes show a different position of the sun, expanded or contracted, which changes everything in nature. The ancients call it the cross of time, spring, summer, fall, and winter. And it was combined with the cross of space, north, south, east, and west, physically related to water, fire, earth, and air, which conceptually you know as expression, experimentation, integration, and transcendence. And that a human lives as born, grow, reproduce, and die. Me, the four pillars of existence, I am. And in its center, the world, the power of the divine being, the essence. Thus, the first symbol that described the positive and negative cycles of cosmic reincarnation in the universe was a cross with a circle in its center, the sun, which summed up everything. Thus, each being that had incarnated divinity through illumination was understood as the son of the sun, the son of light. Me, that in Indo-European was said as Deu, origin of the word God. I am son of God. Every enlightened being was a son of God at the center of the cross of the seasons of the year, on December 21st, as every year, although sometimes it's on the 20th or 22nd, the winter-summer solstice occurs, and in the northern hemisphere, winter has begun. But at the same time, it's also being the return path toward spring and warmth. Starting in December, the movement of the earth will make it appear that the sun is slowly moving north again. The maximum moment that has leaned toward the south is on the day December 21st, the shortest day of the year for the north and the longest for the south. This moment is interpreted as the death of the sun. For 3 days until December 25th, the sun will rise at exactly the same point on the horizon until it begins to return to the north. Me, with which of the stories of the birth of Jesus and his resurrection from a cross speaks of astronomy, something that has been understood many other times. I am, and with many other sons of gods in history, this means that what Christianity celebrates as the return of the sun, S-U-N, a pagan ceremony, and in this is the allegory. Me, which one? I am. All humans go through the same process in each life. They are born, they grow, they produce, and they die. And throughout these 4 organic and biological processes, day by day, month by month, or year by year, they express themselves, experience, integrate, and transcend. All this to find your own shine, your inner light. All humans are crucified in different situations. Me. Each person carries their cross. I heard it said in relation to the fact that each one has their own route along the Via Dolorosa, carrying the cross to the Mount of Crucifixion. I am, which means that every individual has a story that they carry on their skin, a responsibility, a guilt, a duty that, if not faced with inner light, will be a painful weight that they will drag. That weight is the process, an unresolved conflict, a relationship not assimilated, an unfinished project, a heavy inheritance. But the objective of going around the sun is to get enlightened, to get back on your feet, upright, and to rise again, that is, to find the resurrection. Me. And how do we get there? I am. When you make the shadows conscious, the place where you find yourself buried, kneeling, humiliated, carrying the weight. When you see it, you watch it, and instead of letting yourself be defeated, you gather strength and you get back on your feet. Living beings, plants, animals, and humans, they live constant resurrection practices in their lives. Every time you get up in the morning and stand up, you resurrect. Every time you free yourself from heavy ties and come back to life, every time you finish crying to continue with your routine, you come back to life. Every time you resolve a conflict, you come back to life. Every time you become aware of your shadows, you come back to life. You stand firm, standing up. You change your position, your dimension. Me. And you realize that you are the sun. I am, the dimension of unity where everything expressed, experienced, integrated, and transcended arises from you and returns to you, since everything is you. The ancients knew that the resurrection lives in the cycles of reincarnation, in the continuum of life. Christians eliminated the idea of reincarnation with the sole objective of making Christ the only one capable of returning from the dead. Me. This takes away the possibility of redemption for ordinary humans, that is, that they can try again without guilt. I am the abolition of reincarnation and the accentuation of the resurrection only in one person has made us think that this act is typical of a teacher or divine. The truth is that it is typical of the natural world. Me. We must recover the divine ability to resurrect, to rise from the ashes like the phoenix bird. The resurrection is in all things, and we practice it every day. I am. You just have to make yourself aware of it. Lazarus, get up and walk. put one foot in front of the other. It's time to get up off the ground, to drop the weight of the shadows and to use them as fuel. Stand up, rise up. Recognize that by overcoming any conflict, emotion, or idea, you are resurfacing. You are freeing yourself from the weight of the cross. Me. As the lotus that without mud does not grow, does not flourish, the darkness and the shadows have given me the necessary ground to nourish myself and to be able to stand firm and straight towards the sky to flourish. Rise from the shadows. I am. Make the divine something every day and natural, and you will live day by day in paradise. The grace of Sagittarius is the joy of existence, the joy of living creation, because upon discovering that shadows and darkness are no longer my enemies, but the choreographers of my life, you launch yourself to see the lights, the shapes, the art with art, the colors of creation, learning and enjoying the path and the journey through existence. Me. I rise from among my shadows to fly with the lightness of the wind, recognizing the world that the shadows have created so that I can have fun and learn and play. I am. The great journey begins.